Hey, good morning. This is Caleb Gouge with Gouge Quality Roofing. We're going to do a few training videos on some of our commercial metalwork that we do here for the company. So first off, I'm going to show you guys how to make what we call Endwall flashing. Everything we make today is out of 26 gauge metal. This is a commercial brake. This is a brake. That's how we bend all the metal. First of all, this is a cutting wheel for the brake. It actually, guys, locks on and rolls right on. I know that may be hard to see. There's rollers. It locks onto the back and sits right there. And that's how we slice our metal. And I do want you to see that when you close the brake, that from your mark, the cutter is actually 1.5 inches from the brake. So this will make sense in a minute how you mark your panel. All right, so it's 1.5 inches from your mark to where it cuts. Most of our end wall flashing is 4 inches on the roof and a lot of times 4 inches up the wall. Unless we're going under siding, sometimes we make it smaller up the wall, like 2.5 inches. And so I'm gonna just pretend it's a new build. We're doing 4 on the roof. We're gonna do 4 up the wall. And we also put a hem on the roof side, and I'll show you what a hem is here in a minute. So I wanna measure, and that hem takes 3/4 inch. So I want 8 3/4. But because that cuts back 1.5 inches, where I'm gonna mark it to put it into the brake is 7 1/4. So I already have this marked. 8 3/4 is where I want it cut, but I need to make another mark, 7 1/4, and I circled it on both ends so I know exactly where to put it into the brake. Lift this up. This panel can sometimes be hard to handle by yourself. You just have to learn how to maneuver it. You always stick one side in at a time, and then it allows you to slide it right into place. Get a little pressure on it, helps hold it in place while you get it in line. Take it to that mark, 7 1/4. Take it to that mark, 7 1/4. Now as you see, I've slid it all the way towards the end, the metal towards the end, because we have to have room here to get the roller on, the cutter. Now that we have it right to our marks, tighten it down. Now I always double check, make sure I get the cutter lined up well. Otherwise, you screw the panel up and have to start all over. You have to keep one hand in front. It keeps the pressure out of the cutter, and it'll allow it to slide. It takes a little practice to make sure you get the wrinkles out. Have your piece cut your 8 3/4. First thing I'm gonna do, gonna create the hem. I always put my hems in first. Hem's 3/4 inch. You can check with your tape measure, but it basically works out right to the little past the edge of the rubber. 3/4 inch and perfect. Perfect. Looks like I've been doing this a little while. Put that on. Brake, always 2 hands, as wide as you can. It'll give it a more uniform bend, and it doesn't create as much bad pressure on the brake itself. So we want to show black, so we're putting white up first, and we're bending that. See how we bent that? Now we're going to close the brake all the way. Create that hem, we have to pressurize it one more time. Lift this up, and what that does is completely closes that hem. Now we're going to go ahead and put one more bend in it. Always measuring from the hem, so we already have the hem here. We want our 4 inches on the roof, so we make a little mark, and that's 8 inches, so we did all our math correct. 4 inches. And then you have to bend it according to the pitch, which the pitch is the angle of the roof. And what we're going to do is, let's say we're going to bend it to the angle of that roof right up there. And I can't see the mark in the light. Should have got a crane. So we're 4 inches, hems here. I'm going to take and bend it about that pitch. One of the main reasons we're showing you end wall flashing, because we use it on almost every single job. And that's why you need to learn this bend. You need to be able to do it quickly and efficiently. For instance, on this little roof line, you have end wall flashing. It goes in front of dormers. End wall flashings go in front of chimneys. And then end wall flashings go up there where the roof line meets a wall. So even on this little bitty roof, you have 3 spots where there's end wall flashing. So it is very common on most of our jobs, you're going to be bending this piece of metal almost every single day. Fits just like that, sits right on the shingles, this goes right up the wall, and it sits perfectly flush. It may take you a couple times of just retweaking the pitch, the angle on it, for you to get it like this. And then how we pin it, we actually have black screws that match. Every 2 feet, we put a black screw as a neoprene washer. We drive it right through the edge, right into the shingle. Guys, that's how you do end wall flashing.